All right, man. Bootleg Kev here. I'm gonna start doing more videos like this where I talk about just what's going on in hip hop in like a non-toxic way, as non-toxic as possible. To be honest. But with that being said, I wanted to talk about a few things. One of which there is this New York rapper list that came out on Complex. From what I understand, this list is from 2023, but it's just gone viral again. Um, and I think it is egregious. The list, if we look at it, they have Jay-Z number one, Biggie number two, Nas number three, Rakim number four, LL Cool J is five, 50 Cent is six, Nicki is seven, DMX is eight, Busta Rhymes is nine, and KRS-One is 10. And then you keep going throughout the list. And, I think that there's some people on this list that are misplaced. And there's also some people on this list that it's just an absolute atrocity that they're on it. Obviously, if this list is from 2023, having Diddy at number 48 is crazy. I also would like to point out having Diddy as number 48 is insane, period. Ice Spice should not be on this list. Pop Smoke's really high. We could get into it, but I'm going to also say, look, love to Biz Markie, but Biz Markie was not really known as much of an MC as more if he was as an entertainer. But I did put together a list of some of my, I'm going to give five people, and there's a lot of honorable mentions here, but I want to give my legit five that were snubbed from this list. All right. And my number one draft pick as to far as who is snubbed from this list, Lloyd Banks. The Lloyd Banks disrespect has got to stop. This is 1/3 of one of the most powerful groups in hip hop history. On his own, he has classic mixtapes. He's got an incredible discography of albums. And he's been on an insane run over the last decade of, I would say the last 5 years, of dropping incredible bodies of work independently that always get overlooked. But if we're not putting Lloyd Banks in the top 50 New York rappers of all time, like, what the fuck are we doing? This is the punchline king. You cannot have Biz Markie, Ice Spice, no disrespect to Jimmy. I think Jimmy deserves to be on this list, but I don't think he deserves to be on this list over Lloyd Banks. I don't think, what are we, again, Lloyd Banks has to be on this list. So that would be my number one snub that I would add into this list. And what I noticed about this list, there are MCs on this list who aren't technically from New York City. For example, at number 20, Slick Rick is on the list, who deserves to be on this list, but he is from the UK. So I also, as a draft pick, my number two top 50 MC in New York history, though not originally from New York, I think we can all agree New York is whom this artist is most heavily affiliated with when we think about him and his partner DJ Premier and Gang Starr. I'm talking about Guru, one of the most distinct voices in hip hop history. As a group, Gang Starr's discography is all time. It's on the mantle. Again, I'm looking at this list and I just can't imagine not having Guru on a list that includes Ice Spice and Cardi B. And that's no shade to Cardi, because I think Cardi deserves to be on this list as well. All right, so that's my second. So now we're kind of getting into an interesting place here with, I have a list because I want to go through my honorable mentions, because I do think there's members of Wu-Tang that deserve to be on this list that aren't. I actually would put Inspector Deck on this list above ODB. I think Inspector Deck has two of the greatest verses in hip hop history. Triumph and Above the Clouds, the Gang Starr feature. Those are two of my favorite verses ever. And I just think what he's done with his new group and Inspector Deck has to be. If you're going to put ODB, you got to put Inspector Deck. With that being said, I'm not picking Inspector Deck. That's my little Wu-Tang tangent. I am going to go, though, I feel like I'm going super old school on a lot of these, but this is a newer pick. You cannot have the 50 greatest rappers in New York history and not have Joey Badass. Why is Joey Badass not on this list? Even if this list was made in 2023, how are we not including Joey Badass on this list? I feel like this list has a lot of, I don't know, what are we doing if Joey Badass is on the list that you're including, or you're not including him, but you're including somebody like, fucking, again, let's talk about fucking Biz Markie. Like Joey Badass as an MC. Why do we have Biz Markie on the list if we don't have Joey Badass? In 2023, before we knew Diddy was diddling, why the fuck would you have Diddy on this list if we don't have Joey Badass? So that's 3. I gotta go. Ooh, this is tough because I'm gonna pick 2 more that I feel like were the biggest snubs that we should do a little swapperoni on. People won't like this, but we're talking about now 10, 15-year run. French Montana. I know that it's popular to hate on French Montana, but French Montana was, besides Nicki, ASAP Mob, French was the only guy out of New York putting hits on the board for a serious amount of time. French is probably the only guy, if you go to a nightclub in the South or you go to a nightclub on the West Coast, that you're going to hear a New York record being, because we're talking about Pop That. French Montana Pop That's one of the greatest club songs of all time. I just think you got to have French on this list. If you're going to go 50, you got to have French on the list. And if I had to pick one more, it's tough. It's really, really tough. Because I have a few on here that I feel like if I were to make this list, all these names that I have kind of set aside would be up there. I'm going right now. I'm contemplating between Talib Kweli and AZ. And I'm going to go with, if I had to pick 5, I'm going to go with AZ. Life's a bitch. What are we talking about? Sugar Hill, Do or Die. It was a hard decision, but those are my 5. Let's go through the honorable mentions. Obviously, Talib Kweli. I have Joel Santana as an honorable mention. I also have Immortal Technique as an honorable mention. I have Action Bronson as an honorable mention. And what I noticed about this list is it said New York. It didn't say New York City. So I do think it is an atrocity not to include the guys from Griselda somewhere on this list. And by the guys, I mean, like, I really think you can't go wrong with picking any one of the 3. But for me, it's Conway. I think if I'm looking at this list too, I just want to kind of judge who's egregiously misplaced. Pharoah Monch at number 49 is a fucking joke. So Pharoah Monch should be a lot higher. I also think that if you're looking at this list, man, Jadakiss at 16 just feels wrong. It feels fucked. And I got to say one more other honorable mention. I'm sorry, 2 more other honorable mentions that I actually had just thought about in my head. Phife Dawg from A Tribe Called Quest and Havoc. Havoc from Mobb Deep. Obviously, Prodigy gets all the flowers as the MC, but come on, guys. Havoc is a fucking incredible MC. I feel like this, number 11, instead of putting Prodigy, just put Mobb Deep. Put the fucking group, man. I also feel like when we're talking about Phife, what do we like? Tribe Called Quest to me is the 3rd greatest rap group of all time. And fucking Phife Dawg. Phife Dawg. For fuck's sake, let's put Phife on the list. So that's what I'll say. If I had to take, I'm not even gonna say which 5 I would take off. I kind of said earlier, but if you had to take 5 off, I don't want to even get all the way into that. For sure, I'm taking Biz Markie off, Ice Spice off. That's what I'll say. But that is this New York list, how I see it, who was snubbed, the 5 artists who I would put on the list that are not currently on the list, and some of my honorable mentions. Anyway, shout out to Complex for making this list still rage bait 2.5 years later, however long it was. Also very random that they censored Fat Joe. Why the fuck does it matter if his name's Fat Joe? Is Fat? I mean, I don't know. Anyway, I'd like to keep it moving because there's so much going on in hip hop right now. Specifically, Pusha T and the Clips are dropping a new album. Now, if you guys know anything about me, I do always keep a Clips album on the wall behind me. Lord willing, I got it signed by Pusha T. I still need Malice to sign it. But this past week, the record So Be It came out with Pusha T. Initially, a lot of people thought Pusha T was talking about Kanye West on this verse. Well, he did an interview with GQ, and he cleared that up. He was really, really, coming for Travis Scott's head on this record.